Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast, the #1 industrial-related podcast in the universe that is dedicated 100%. This platform, the Industrial Talk platform, is dedicated to you, the industrial professionals, the companies that get it done because you are bold, you are brave, you dare greatly, and boy, do you innovate, and boy, do you change the world, and boy, do you change lives. Thank you very much for what you do. That's why we celebrate you. We're going to continue our series on the heroes of manufacturing because we need to. That train has left the station, and you need to jump on board. You're going to say, Scott, I've missed my ticket. No, you have not. You need to jump on board. We've got over 30 manufacturers joining in on that doggone train, and you need to join in as well. And you're going to say, Scott, how do I do that? You go out to heroesofmanufacturing.com, and you get all the information you need to see how you would like to participate and celebrate those wonderful people in manufacturing, because, boy, I'll tell you, they went without notice during this whole Corona dealio. They just did their job. They adjusted their manufacturing process. They responded to the needs of the market because they could. That's how they are. That's how they roll. And me personally, am very proud of the fact that, yep, I can call them family. Yeah, I guess I can. Heroes of Manufacturing, go out to heroesofmanufacturing.com and get involved. Get on that train. Don't hesitate. Okay, let's get on with the interview. Erik Josefsson, he is with a little small, no, he's not. He's with Ericsson. Yep, they've got street swag out there, big time. They are in 180 countries. You know that. They are the leader, and I mean the leader in 5G, and they've got a ton of people in manufacturing that just kept on manufacturing, and they just adjusted their process. They had 85% of their workforce have to go home. 85, and they still moved forward. How about that for resiliency? How about that for being able to be nimble for a large company like that? And boy, this was a great interview. And we were talking once again about 5G, but you know what was really setting them apart is the culture. The culture of Ericsson helped support this whole challenging time. And it is challenging, but I'm telling you right now, there is a really interesting, bright side to this challenging time. And one of it is the fact that we are collaborating. And the other is the fact that we are innovating even more so than ever before. And here is Ericsson. They've got tremendous innovation, 5G, and they're able to respond to the necessities of the business today because we've got to change the way we do business. All right. Enough with me yammering on and on and on. Erik Josefsson is the gentleman. He is the vice president, head of advanced industries. That's right, at Ericsson. And if you want to find him out there, because he's got an amazing industrial stat card out there on LinkedIn, it's ErikJosefsson. And if there's a couple of Erik Josefssons, put a little comma in there. Ericsson, boom, there he is. Reach out to him. You will not be disappointed because he's passionate about your success and helping you do what you need to do to make sure that you can succeed into the future. So anyway, here's Erik Josefsson. Enjoy the Heroes of Manufacturing interview. All right, Erik, welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast. I am so glad that you made time in your busy schedule. Thank you very much for saying yes to Heroes of Manufacturing. Ericsson saying yes to the Heroes of Manufacturing and highlighting the wonderful people that are in manufacturing from around the world. Thank you very much for saying yes. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, definitely our pleasure. Now you're broadcasting from Sweden, right? Stockholm.
Correct.
Right?
So Stockholm, Sweden, in sunny weather in Stockholm. So it's good.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Now, for the listeners out there, we're going to have to sort of lay the foundation a little bit. We're going to have to give everybody a little background on who you are and why you're such an incredible professional. Like, where did you come from and what do you think? What are you doing today? So let us know.
No, so I'm coming from Sweden, as you know, and I've been traveling around and worked a lot for Ericsson in Southeast Asia, in US for 3 years, based in Texas, and now leading our advanced industries focus for deploying 4G, 5G networks and specifically into manufacturing. So that's my day-to-day work, ensure that we keep the manufacturing sites up and running and become wireless.
Now, as a side note, do you find, the pre-pandemic world, everything was sort of just chugging right along. People were doing their thing and contemplating the necessity for 5G and digitization and wireless and edge and AI and everything that's associated with Industry 4.0. Do you find there's a shift that's taking place in the mindset of manufacturing and saying, well, that's tough. We're going through a challenging time and we need to leverage technology going forward. What do we need to do? Do you find that happening?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The focus before has been very much on the physical, like getting the right machines, getting the cool type of equipment to make us more efficient with the overall efficiency index. While now it's going from the physical to the digital, and it's much more interest about the digital infrastructure. As Ericsson, where we work on the wireless communication, which is the highways of wireless, that is getting much more attention now. How can you get applications? How can you get your digital to work? While you before maybe focused much more on the physical. So yes, it's a clear shift.
What's so interesting is that there's this cartoon in these individuals, right? They're sitting in a conference room. And so it's a cartoon sitting in a conference room. And then there's this big wrecking ball. And they were saying, well, we're thinking about going digital in 4 to 5 years or whatever. And here's this wrecking ball that says COVID on it and it's swinging on in. And it's just, you just have to start talking about that stuff. Okay. So we've recognized that we're in a brave new world. It might level out. We're still, I think, is a long tail challenge that exists today. It's just a long tail challenge. That's one. How has Ericsson sort of adapted to that particular situation, or the situation that's taking place today?
Yeah, Ericsson is present in 180 countries, so I think one of the most international Swedish companies in the world. And we are having activities, if we work in 180 countries, already very digital. So for us, the shift to the new normal hasn't been as extreme. Working from home or having meetings online is something that we're very used to. What is though is the difference is for our manufacturing staff, which we have in China, we have it in Estonia, and now just recently in the US, where 85% of the staff has actually started to work from home. It's been a new normal.
I have to interrupt. 85%?
85% of the staff is working from home, which has then still kept the manufacturing site running. So we have applied a lot of the digital tools that we previously made more like it's good to have to become a business critical, right?
Yeah. And that whole ability that now, what I've had the opportunity to interview other manufacturing companies, other people that manufacture goods and services, whatever it might be, is the ability to be able to pivot. And now Ericsson being a digital company anyway, maybe the transition, but there still is, I mean, when you start talking about 85% working from home, is that even pre-corona? Or is it
this was the impact for our manufacturing site specifically when we had to shift. Of course, Ericsson is international. So if we look at our nearly 100,000 staff, they are working a lot from home and being on the move. What has COVID-19 has changed is the travel part, right? Where now we don't have the type of travel at all anymore. And we will see after Corona that there's the shift from also what is the definition of business critical travel. And this works quite well.
I agree
we can
with
even
that.
have this interview remotely, and it works.
And it does. And you're right. And I think that that's an interesting, I think there's going to be a greater focus on what is business critical travel, most definitely. And when everybody has been trained or being trained real time on how to communicate via digital platforms, I think it's, from my perspective, it's a game changer. It's like, I don't see how you've let the genie out of the bottle on that one. And I think you're going to have those real serious conversations, which is good and bad to a certain extent. Now, what about the people of Ericsson, not just you, but just the manufacturing team that exists out there? Have they started to get into the swing of things with this COVID world? And have you seen anything to tell us a little bit about how they're dealing with it?
I think we have some of the best heroes in this manufacturing industry. We are at the same time of the heart of this virus. Our team in North America opened up a brand new factory in March, which is 5G, building 5G. So at the same time as we are building up a greenfield factory to make 5G radios, millimeter wave, we also have that fully connected with multiple use cases. For example, VR training, now remotely being trained for workers as this new situation has limited the number of people to be able to be on site. So I'm really impressed by the manufacturing staff that we have within Ericsson, that despite challenges, continue to keep both our manufacturing running, but also the whole society running, because the digital backbone of this new era of digital is that you have a very solid and stable, reliable communication. And I think this whole crisis has been a good evidence of how important that mission critical infrastructure is. So we have tower climbers and we have a lot of good staff out there to ensure that keeping America running, but also keep the world running, to be honest, in this time.
It's funny when I reflect upon the whole COVID situation. There's the challenging side, of course, and where everybody has to sort of being able to pivot quickly and be adaptable to the changes that are taking place in the market. And there's a lot of financial pain, a lot of uncertainty, all of that. I push that aside. It's reality. But the positive side, to your point, Erik, is that manufacturing is people. And we're very resilient when required to be resilient. And this is a great example that they know and people know that there is a necessity to do something bigger, grander, and be able to accomplish great things even in times of challenge. And you brought that up because it's a fascinating observation from my perspective. When manufacturers, just in general, if I was in manufacturing, there's a process and I do this and I do this well. And I just, and now we've got to be very nimble in that type of world. And I like that. Now, shifting sort of to the sort of a human side of it, who do you think needs to be thanked out there from a heroes of manufacturing movement point of view? Like, we're getting people that are saying, I'm really pleased with my HR group. I'm really pleased with how the government has helped us through this very challenging time. Or I'm very thankful for the community and the support that the community has given. What comes to mind when we start talking about that?
So for us, it's very much about the culture. We know that we can work internationally, we can work digitally. And that has really helped us throughout this. It hasn't been a big shift for the staff and for the team. And also triggered the whole innovation capacity of Ericsson at this time. So we added like hack the virus type of hackathons. We have super talented innovators coming up with new cool ideas. We also have together apart type of hashtags helping out with each other. And then we had like a survey going out to the team and across the globe, and 88% felt that they were well supported throughout this type of a challenging and quite disruptive time by the company. So it's not just one group that we have to thank. I think it's the whole culture and the mindset of the constant changing and willingness to change. The day when people said, okay, you can't go into the office, people accepted it and they run. And maybe sometimes we can say that even our efficiencies maybe have increased. I hear that from some of my team members that instead of going like an hour or so in commute, they step straight into the meetings and get things executed. So impressive how the team and the Ericsson has executed in this very strange situation, but it shows the ability to adopt.
Right. You brought up efficiency or gained efficiency. I know I just roll out of the bed and then I still have my night clothes, but I put on a good shirt and I'm ready for work. And that's right off the bat. I don't have to go to the water cooler and get information. I just boom, right off in the. But that's fantastic. And just recognize that, this is not, I don't think business as usual is even a word that we need to consider, because I don't think it will ever be business as usual pre-virus. There might be some similarities, but business as usual, I don't think that that's going to be the case. What did you see the positives of this particular pandemic and the impact to your business in a positive way? Do you see it just carrying on?
I think this whole pandemic and the change of behavior has proven how important the digital infrastructure and the investment in digital infrastructure is. You have to have, similar as how much you invest in getting the physical roads up and running and controlled and maintained, you have to ensure that you have your digital highways up and running. And now this happened also in a very interesting shift, which we see right now with Industry 4.0 happening on one side, with a lot of cool new applications and efficiencies being gained, and way to attract new workers of the digital natives, at the same time as the ramp up of what we are very eager about and what we believe in is 5G. So as 5G rise up in this specific time, I think there's no one that will question the importance of how high speed, reliable, stable, low latency internet is for your survival in any type of business, but also nationwide. So for us, this has more proven the point and accelerated certain business.
I know. It's funny because for the past couple of years, I've had this conversation about 5G, about AI, about digital. All of this stuff is all great, and we have this conversation. It was, from what I see, the positive. What I see is that the whole Corona or COVID or pandemic has placed that thought, that business model, that strategy at the forefront, and there's a sense of urgency, and that's not bad. That's a good thing. If it's sped that thought process up to a more digital mindset, I'm all in. I am.
And I think the hardest thing to do any type of change of Industry 4.0 or smart manufacturing, and so it's usually old behavior or culture from that perspective too, for many of our customers and partners too. And the whole COVID-19 situation has accelerated our adoption, or the digital mindset, as you're saying. And it's going to be interesting to see how we're going to be as all human beings after this COVID-19 situation. I think we all have done significant steps into digital.
My wife and I were having this conversation. I just want to travel a little bit. I'm sort of claustrophobic, right? In this sort of little world. And I was mowing the lawn, and I said, yeah, I'd love to get out of Dodge here for a little while, and just opening it up to travel would be just a nice little thing.
Yeah.
Hey, Erik, are you out on? You're out on LinkedIn. Got a great stat card out there. Are you active? If somebody wants to get a hold of you, can they get a hold of you via LinkedIn?
I think that's the easiest way to get hold of me. We try to post the latest and greatest things that we do in Ericsson and also in the whole industrial ecosystem, because what we see also is important that there is no ecosystem that's going to work in this new era of digital. It's all going to be about the ecosystem, how we collaborate. So if there are people out there that want to work with us, we are all in. I
like it. I like it a lot. Collaboration is the word of of the day. I got to tell you, because I don't have all the answers, but I know that Ericsson has a lot of answers, but they might not have all the answers. But we've just got to collaborate more and more each day. Now, listeners, we're going to have to wrap it up because we're running out of time. You stay tuned. Do not go away. We will wrap it up on the other side. So thank you very much for joining the Industrial Talk Podcast. And Erik, thank you for joining the Industrial Talk Podcast. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right, 2 words. That's right. Erik Josefsson. That's right. Vice President, Head of Advanced Industries. Ericsson is the company. Sweden is the location. We had this interview, which is pretty doggone cool. Technology is really pretty fancy pants, I got to tell you. That was a fantastic interview. That is definitely celebrating the heroes of manufacturing. Love the concept. I love to talk about culture. Love the fact that Ericsson was able to take that company and be very nimble within the world. Incredible. It's people. That's what it's all about. It always gets down to people. That's what manufacturing is all about. So you're saying to yourself, Scott, how do I hop on this train? Industrial Talk, you can find it there. But more importantly, heroesofmanufacturing.com. That's where you can buy a ticket and get on board, because this is a great movement. It celebrates wonderful people. You can't complain. They're the unsung heroes of what has been going on in this world, this global pandemic. Say thank you to a manufacturing person. All right, we're wrapping it up. Thank you very much for joining the Industrial Talk Podcast. Be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you, manufacturers, for what you do. We're going to have another great interview on its way, so stay tuned. Take care. Be safe.